Here we are in July and cotton is growing across the state. Seth, it's kind of popping up in non-traditional cotton areas across the state, and we've seen that happen over the past couple of years. How does the crop look?
Overall, it looks pretty good. You know, we usually have this planting window through the entire month of May, and this year you really saw it kind of abbreviated. You saw a lot of cotton go in early May. I think a lot of our Panhandle region, when you talk about the sort of the non-traditional or newer areas, most of the Panhandle region probably went in that early May time period. Some of the Southwest and even the West Central portions, sort of our more traditional areas, had started in early May, and then we got that pretty solid rain in the middle of the month, and that pushed some folks off and came back to planting in late May. So we kind of have these two real big windows of planting that we have this year. USDA put us at 640,000 acres. I think we're a little under that, but we're still probably around the 600,000 mark, and that puts us easily third in the nation in planted acres. And I think that the majority of those in our state look fairly good now, if not better. So overall, it's pretty good, but we have certainly lost some acres.
Are we seeing any pressure with the insects, with any pests at all?
We had some thrips pressure early on, and that's something that we expect in certain areas. And you know, between seed treatments and folks scouting and getting some oversprays out, we can usually, if we're timely, we can usually be pretty good about controlling thrips and minimizing their damage. And I think for the most part, we've done that this year. Now, as we're moving into flowering, most of the state's probably going to be flowering this week or by the end of next. We're going to start getting to our stink bug pest and our worm complex, or our caterpillars. So stink bugs, you know, obviously need to scout for those. Tobacco budworm is usually something that we have had successfully controlled with our BT traits. Corn earworm, or a lot of folks will refer to it as the bowworm, that's been something that's been a little more touch and go. We've seen a lot of weakness with our 2-gene BT traits. Most Oklahoma's probably got a 3-gene trait planted, but even still, we have seen some other areas of the cotton belt who have had issues with controlling or getting total control of that species with even 3-gene BT traits. So as we move into this part of the season, continuing to scout is going to be, you know, just as important as it was early to make sure we control those pests, especially with a lot of our acres being in a situation where yield potential is pretty good.
Moving forward, we're getting into the need for moisture, for heat units. Just kind of paint a broad picture of that timeline for when we need those heat or when the cotton plant needs the heat units, because in the past years we've needed them. Clouds have rolled in, we've got rain whenever we needed that boost in that.
Yeah, so I mean, so from here on out, you know, most of our state is going to be able to put on effective flowers, and I mean a flower that will become a harvestable, mature boll between, you know, this week and mid-August. In some areas it may be a little earlier, in a lot of areas it's going to be a little later. So we really need another, you know, 6 to 7 weeks of favorable conditions at least. Really we could use it throughout the mid-September. I've seen probably some of the best dryland cotton this year that I've ever seen in Oklahoma or otherwise. It's just, we've had some really good looking dryland cotton. We do a lot of on-farm dryland variety trials with our producers, and to be a dryland cotton grower, you got to have a different sort of way about it anyway. And so we work with some really good growers, and these folks have got tremendous stands of cotton this year. So I really hope we can keep capturing some of these rains, because the potential in those fields right now is great. And if we could just meet, you know, 90%, 80% of it, we're going to have a pretty good crop.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Seth Byrd, Extension Cotton Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.